Let's see. Hi, everyone. We're going to start in about 2 to 3 minutes. Give everyone a chance to get on the page. Hey, getting ready to record and get this stuff going, I think. All right. So again, if you will, hi Claudia, yay, my first hey. We just want to welcome everybody while you're coming in. If you just check in, let us know where you're tuning in from. If you make sure down in your chat, just put some likes, let us know that you're there. We would appreciate it. Again, we're going to give about 2 minutes to give people time to chime in and get ready for our book break for today, featuring J. California Coopers. So look forward to sharing this with you. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I see a lot of our library people, especially some of our retirees there. Thank you. Again, if you're just tuning in, welcome, welcome. We ask that you would just send us a comment, let us know that you're there. Let us know where you may be tuning in from. I know we had some people who said they were going to be out of town. So if you just let us know how far we're reaching with this event, we would really appreciate it. Thanks to my staff who were tuning in as well. I appreciate your support. The time is 4 o'clock, and what I'm going to do is actually do a little intro before so that way people can still tune in. So, first and foremost, good afternoon, and welcome to Book Break, the adult story time for Fulton County. As we've been asking, as you come in, if you would just chime in, let us know that you're there, let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you have any questions, concern, please share them in the chat. We have some great support who will be answering questions and sending resources as I go along with the book talk. And this is a adult story time. So please be mindful that our children's story time is weekdays, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock, right here on our Facebook page. But this one today at 4 is our adult story time. So there is some subject matter and some language that is intended for adults. Please feel free again to share your comments and your likes. We will be getting started. I have a quick intro overview of the story that I'll be sharing today. So we'll go ahead and get started with that because I want you all to be able to enjoy the entire story. So our feature book for today is J. California Cooper's Some Love, Some Pain, Some Time. Now, Cooper was born in Berkeley, California. The J in her name stands for Joan. California is for the state where she was born, and Cooper is her father's name. She chose to call herself California in imitation of her favorite playwright, Tennessee Williams. J. California Cooper is the author of 4 novels and 6 collections of stories. She was honored as Black Playwright of the Year, and her work received the American Book Award, the James Baldwin Writing Award, and the Literary Lion Award from the American Library Association. Cooper said about her writing that everything is fiction because I don't like to write fact. A common theme in Cooper's work is women's search for love, and another is Christian morality. Cooper's fiction is often set in another historical period. However, the book Some Love, Some Pain, Some Time offers no clues about time or geography. I named this book What I Think About Life, Cooper told Emerge magazine. I know life is composed of many more things, but in the meantime, love is what seems to make a person's world go round. And it has some love sometime and some pain sometime. Like her earlier fiction, Some Love also centers on issues of morality. And today's story from the book is Sure is a Shame. Sure is a shame. You know, it's a fact, and I've seen it. Sometimes when you think you're taking a bite out of life, chewing hard on it, life be done taking a bite out of you and done already swallowed. Sure is a shame. Sure is. Like my neighbors across the way there, Inez and Fred. That's their house. They've been married a long time. Her good luck and his bad. Long time ago, when I was in high school, my family lived next door to Inez's family. Inez used to pull her younger sister Gartha around by the nose practically, because Gartha about worshiped Inez. Anyway, we was kind of friends. Not best friends, but kind of friends. And sometimes I would go over to their house. It was a poor little bare house. Most everybody's was, but it was never too clean nor happy. Their daddy was gone, but their mama was still there, Mama Leah. And Mama Leah was always fussing about something, mostly men. Mama Leah liked to drink and smoke while she sat at the kitchen table and talk about life and men. I didn't believe everything she said, but I was sitting up there looking in her mouth, listening, just like Inez and Gartha. She would talk about their daddy too. He came by to see them sometimes, but Mama Leah would always fuss and cuss and holler at him and try to get his money. So he didn't come by much. Mama Leah would say things like, a man ain't nothing. He just a dog. You can't let him get away with nothing. He'll walk all over you. Believe me when I tell you, all they want is one thing. That's between your legs, and then they be done gone off with another one. My mama said something about what men want, but she didn't say it like that. Mama Leah said, don't never tell a man he looks good, because he'll lose his mind, honey. Sure will. He'll go out and try to look good to all the women then. And he'll go upside your head if you try to look good. And once he gets you to start having them babies, it's all over then. He don't want you no more. He wants something new. Oh yeah, something young. Men ain't nothing. Don't you ever trust no man. They'll hurt you. They'll let you down every time. Ain't no mother son worth a good hot damn. Believe me when I tell you, I hate them. I ain't never gonna work to help no man, no do nothing. Don't never give your money to a man. They good for nothing. Now see, I didn't believe everything Mama Leah said, because I love my daddy. He was always coming by to see us and always taking us somewhere. My mama didn't have to fight him about no money. And I had brothers and uncles I loved. They laughed a lot and was always doing something for us or bringing a little something to make you feel good. I loved them. Anyway, pretty soon my life was full of books and courting, dresses, and all them things like that. So I didn't go by Inez's very much at all. Neither Inez nor Gartha laughed or smiled much. So it wasn't much fun at their house. Inez would go out with Fred some, but she said she didn't really like him, just waiting for her real love to come along. Gartha didn't have anybody courting her. She just followed around behind Inez. Sure was a shame. I was getting around pretty good and I fell in love with a boy named Buster. And he fell in love with me. We planned to get married. We were near graduation and we both come from kind of poor homes, so we both worked. We even saved our money together. I opened the account and we put the money in. When we finally did get married, we were able to put that money down on a little house. This one we still in. It's where we started our family. It ain't big or nothing, but it's ours. And you know, our kids started coming right away, even early. We sure was happy. Inez wasn't nothing much to look at in school. Had a hateful attitude, but a real nice body, pretty legs and such like that. But Fred sure did love that girl. She was sure glad because the other boys didn't pay much attention to her. She was like sweet sugar to him until she found out how much he loved her and how much he would take. Then she took to being a little mean, even to making him do things for her in front of her girlfriends so they would see how much he loved her. Fred just took it with a smile, saying, "That's Inez." Now, everybody was getting graduated and married and such like that, but nobody still didn't pay no attention to Inez. So she married Fred. Not too long after that, Gartha got married. She was still trying to do everything Inez did. I don't know how Gartha got that man Pete, because everybody knew he was in love and going steady with another girl. They say she lied about being pregnant. Whichever way she did it, she got him. Then she lost the baby, she said. Pete had really wanted his baby and was going to leave and go back to his real love. So Gartha got pregnant again. And this time she had a baby girl. Pete loved this child and he worked hard for them both. And I don't know if he was ever in love with Gartha or not, but I do know he was from a foster home and he wanted a big family of his own. They finally got a house too. Not as big or as nice as Inez's turned out to be, but they got one. Fred was working his hands to the bone for Inez. That very house right there where I showed you, he built that house with his own two hands. He might have handed him a nail or a hammer, but he sure enough built it, just like she wanted. Took a year or two to finish because they didn't have much money. She wouldn't work, said, a woman's place is in the home. Well, I guess she was right because there was a lot of them. When they finally moved in, she got that house straightened out and then proceeded to keep him from enjoying the fruit of his labor. The Bible talks about that, you know. Sure is a shame. Now, friends could sit in Inez's dining room whenever they dropped in and she would serve them something. Fred had to eat in the kitchen if it wasn't a special gathering. She let other people smoke in her house, club ladies and such, you know. Fred would light a cigarette, she'd be fanning all around him, fussing. And he had to have his own special ashtray because she wanted to keep all the rest of them clean. He had to clean his own. If he went to work and left a bud in it, it was still there when he came home. Fred couldn't bring his friends home to watch sports games or play cards because she didn't like them. Too trashy, she said. And I just hate them old football and baseball and basketball games. It's a waste of time. Whose? Must have been hers because Fred liked things like that and such. I don't always watch them, but I make bets with my husband on them, and that makes something between us that we can share. And that don't mean I'm right, but it means my husband is happy and I have peace in my house. As usual, Gartha followed Inez. Gartha commenced to treat Pete like he was a fool dog. Pete kept working, but he spent a lot of time in them streets. Just came home enough to bring Gartha some money to help with the baby in the house. He spent the rest of his time any way he wanted. Mama Lil said, "I told you so." Gartha's house wasn't too clean either. She was always over at her mother's house, sitting at the table and drinking a little, talking about how low down men were. I guess history does repeat itself because people building the same history every day. Now, I know I sound like a gossip, but I sure am not. I just study life. I had children I was raising, still do, and I had to watch life so I would know how to explain it when the time came I needed to. I knew there was some men like Mama Lil talked about, but I knew that it wasn't all like that. Sure is the truth. Now, even though Fred was working for both of them, he had to wash his own clothes by hand or at some laundrette because Inez said, I don't want all them dirty clothes in my washing machine. When he sit down to read newspaper after a thrown together dinner and maybe doze off because he tired, do you know she would wake him up and have him clean up those papers around him? And I know he had to clean up the kitchen after his self-made breakfast before he go to work, because my husband sometimes waited for him to give him a lift. To me, his day started out wrong. But what do I know? Now, Inez, she didn't want no babies, no children. Said right in front of Fred, honey, if them babies come here looking like Fred, I'd die. I'm not going to be guilty of bringing no such babies into this here world. I didn't think he was ugly. I thought he was nice looking. And I know some other women did too. And even if she thought he was ugly, he was her ugly. Sure was a shame. Sometimes I think maybe she just didn't want to share the spotlight with no child. My husband didn't look no better than Fred, and we had 4 children, 4 beautiful children. It was a shame because every kid on the street over the years had something Fred had made them or given them. He played ball in the street and that empty lot with them till Inez called him in the house. I got something for you to do around here with all that energy. Mow the lawn or something. They had the best looking lawn in the community because it seemed like he'd rather be outside than in the house with Inez on the weekends when he'd be home. When they wasn't having company for dinner on Sunday, Inez fixed that hard-working man leftovers and some lunch meat sandwiches with a cup of soup. And even after he had done worked all day sometime and come home tired, and she been at home all day. Sure was a shame. On my husband's day off, I cook him a good meal. Sometimes he cooks me a real good meal. I don't never feel like a fool because he is my husband and he treats me right. And I don't think he's no fool for doing it. If you treat what belongs to you right, who you gonna do it for? Sometimes I see Pete and Gartha come over to Inez and Fred's house with their daughter. And when they get out the car, you could hear them squabbling all the way across the street. The child would have her head bent down, but she be walking, holding both of their hands. I understand Pete didn't hit Gartha. Gartha too big. And anyway, none of Mama Leo's play that hidden stuff. I don't believe in it myself, and I didn't raise my daughters to take no hidden mess. Sure is the truth. Now, I know all about this women's liberated thing and such, but I know one thing. When you have somebody love you and trying to do everything to please you, they are liberating you too. Everybody's supposed to have a hand in liberating themselves. If you don't want to kiss nobody's behind, then don't keep putting your behind in their face, because that's wrong and it sure is a shame. And when somebody's trying to do what you're trying to do and you've been friends, you pay attention to how life is turning out. Now, I never did talk about anybody to the ideas to anybody but my husband. And he didn't care nothing about nobody's business. But Inez talked about Fred all the time, except she didn't say anything except all the things she thought was wrong with him. Said he couldn't do nothing right. He was so stupid. Or she should have married somebody else because he didn't have no class, no culture. She tore him down. I didn't say nothing because I didn't agree with her. I like Fred. Only reason I'm telling you is because you don't know neither none of us. And I feel sorry for Fred. Sure was a shame to me. I don't know whatever happened in their house, like their bedroom or nothing. But after about 10 years or such, Fred got him a pretty lady who was washing clothes over that same laundromat Inez made him use. I guess Inez didn't give him much of that sex stuff either. You know, loving child. I got more than my husband ever gonna need, and I help him know that. Fred and that lady started keeping company pretty regular. When Inez began to wonder why he was late from work more and more, she buzzed around and found out about that woman. Ooh, she went down to that woman's job, cussed her out, and wanted to fight. After that, she trailed Fred all the time in her car. She driving, him walking. He didn't keep that lady, or that lady didn't keep him. I don't know. I do know he told my husband, sometime a man can't be happy in the house and can't be happy out the house. My husband said, he said, I don't have that problem, so I don't know. Anyway, if it was true, it sure was a shame. Now, quiet as it was kept, I knew Pete had another woman. The woman even had a baby for Pete because Gartha didn't want no more children. I do know Pete was a good father to their daughter Gartha had. Now, not long after that, Fred started building him an add-on room, just a little one. She made him use cheaper second-class wood and things. Said, it's too expensive and you don't even need it. He did it all. Then bought cheap curtains and a used big chair. He fought for a TV of his own. The room had a door to the outside, so his friends could come in the back way and not disturb Inez when they came to watch the game. Inez wouldn't let him eat up all of her food, so he bought a little refrigerator and stocked it up with all kinds of things for the game. Lunch meat, beers, cokes, potato chips, and all such as that. She told him, let them other men bring their own food. You're spending too much money. Them men wasn't there all the time neither, because they visited each other in turns. Fred just couldn't satisfy Inez. Sure was a shame. Later, more things happened, or didn't happen. But I had my own family growing up and other things to look after. So I don't know everything. She always thought it was a shame that man couldn't enjoy the life he worked so hard for. He was getting older and he didn't smile so much, except at the children around here. Fred just kept working and almost lived in that back add-on room. Well, the years passed that way. Back then, as he walked down the street to home, frowning a little, head bent down. I guess Fred was thinking about his life, and it wasn't happy at all. One day, when they'd been married about 25 years, still no children yet, came home and went to sit in his little room. Then turned on the TV or the radio. He got a plate of cold lunch meat out of the icebox and sat down, forgetting to eat, staring off a million miles into space right there in that little room. There were tear streaks on down his face when they found him. He died right there, that day. Sure was a shame. That man never really lived where he wanted to, like he wanted to. Well, honey, Inez went to pieces, all to pieces. I mean, she fell out. Her life out fell apart. She took it pretty good the first day, but that night and all the rest of them days and nights, she looked at that expensive coffin. She insisted on it as they lowered it into the ground, and she looked so hurt and confused and alone. Alone, child. Seems like she never thought about death and Fred, but he was gone. Gone. His old girlfriend came, crying, so he must have been nice to her too. Poor Fred. Sure was a shame. Naturally, the days passed. Naturally, the nights followed. And Inez was miserable. No new man rushed over there like she thought they would with her fine self. I don't mean to sound ugly, but you know what I mean. Her life was more lonely every day. Every day she had the blues. Well, Pete didn't die, but Pete said to himself, life's too short. And he left Gotham, left that unclean, unhappy home. Their daughter was grown, and he had three younger ones over at his girlfriend's house. By the way, that was the first girl he had loved in school. They called him Daddy out loud everywhere. Gartha liked to went crazy. She whooped and she hollered and went on about, I gave him the best years of my life. I've been a good wife. I gave up plenty good chances for Pete, and now he done left me for some young whore. Now the girl was wrong, William with married man. But she wasn't a whore and she wasn't young. She was Gartha's age. She had been raising the children and waiting through the years because she loved Pete. I heard Pete say it back. You hadn't ever given anybody your best nothing. You ain't ever had a best nothing. I gave you the best years of my life. Then he was gone from Garth anyway. Naturally, life went on for everybody. Well, about 2 months later, Inez came over to my house. She was breaking. She had already been a little gray, but her hair was almost all gray. New lines of tears or frowns was deep in her face. Oh, Ella, she said to me, I miss him. I miss Fred. I lay in that bed at night or sit in that house wishing I could hear Fred rambling around in the kitchen, in his little room, just anywhere. I wish his friends were back there in that room or anywhere else he wanted to be in that house. I wish I could just smell his smoke, see the cigarette ashes all over. I don't care. I wish he was there, hungry, so I could feed him something to eat, drink, anything. Even wish I could wash his clothes. Oh, Ella, I miss him. I miss Fred. I can't sleep since he's been gone. She said a lot more things, but I can't remember it all. Sure is a shame, because it was too late for all of that. Soon after that day, I went across the high grass of her overgrown lawn to take her a plate of food. And she had the TV on to a game and the radio on to another game, just blasting. Was even a cigarette burning, smoking, laying in her beautiful ashtray. She sat there crying from the bottom of her body. I'm alone. Fred is gone. My good, good man is gone. Then Gartha came in. And I always loved when Gartha came and started crying about how she'd been treated bad by Pete in life, crying about this and that. Because I knew she could have kept what Pete's other woman had if she had just listened to her heart, instead of old bitter women who twist and stretch the truth, sometimes till it cover up all their own mistakes. Both Mama Leo's daughters had missed out on life by listening to her talk. They should have looked at what kind of woman she was. What would a good man who loves peace and a happy home want with Mama Leo? I may be wrong. Uh-oh. I don't know if it's still going. Well, I'm going to keep talking. Something just went on the screen. I choose, but I think you attract what you attract yourself and what you choose. And I don't get what you don't attract or choose. I may be wrong, but I think I know. So I left there. Sad for Inez. I mean, I knew as mean as she was had been to Fred, they couldn't have had such a beautiful life. All I could say was, sure is a shame. Two people's lives messed up. I just couldn't stop sighing and saying, sure is a shame. I finally forgot about it a little when my husband came home and hit me on my behind while I was fixing up his dinner. I had done fed my two grandchildren early and put them to bed till their parents came to pick them up. When he hit me on my behind, I know what that means. Inez's life just sort of flew out of my mind because the best thing I believe that you could do in your life is tend to your own business. I have always tried to take care of mine, and I believe that's what I got some business to tend to. Show is a blessing and a joy. And I hope you've enjoyed this book break today with J. California Cooper's Some Love, Some Pain, Sometime. We ask that you join us each Thursday at 4 p.m. and be sure to check out all of our digital resources. And again, we thank you for joining us, and please be back next week and check out a lot of J. California Cooper's other books. Thank you.